Hey there, Planet Poke people, it's me, DioGenZ, and it's time for Pokemon of the Week. Before we move on to this week, I want to just make some notes about last week. Thank you very much for everyone who shared their honest and open opinion about the set for Amoonguss, because as I said in the video, it was a pretty disastrous set that I thought of at the very last minute. This is not the case for this week, but I did learn a lot. The most helpful of all was Heart Gold Soul Silver 1994's recommendation to check out Smogon and their vast set of information on Pokemon in the metagame. This is perfect for me because many people asked in the comments last time, what metagame are you playing in, buddy? And to be honest with you, none whatsoever. So no, I'm not the best qualified to do these videos, but I am greatly motivated to learn. And while college gets in the way sometimes of metagame matches, I must ask myself sometimes, do I need to do a stream survey to see if the water quality is pure in this area, or verse some people on Wi-Fi? And I choose the latter. But when I do not have time to verse, Smogon is an excellent resource. So I will say that today's sets are partially inspired from Smogon. I can't take all of the credit because I got a lot of inspiration and great ideas from it, but I will show you what I've modified and where I think this Pokemon of the Week can be best for you. And this week we're looking at Magneton. This Magneton is known in the Smogon tiers as a rarely used Pokemon, so that's something else that you can expect out of these videos. As I learn more, the quality will increase, so the better comments that you post, the more informative comments that you post, not just, oh, I wish I could just pry my eyes out. Yeah, this is more of an auditory video anyway. Why not a screwdriver to the ears? Anyway, the more information you post, the better it gets, so let's continue on. I will talk about tiers from now on. Rarely used, as you can guess, not very often seen. This isn't some kind of Pokemon you'd be want to mainlining in the overused category. If you want to try overused, I'd suggest a Magnezone, but we will get to raising that in another week. This is my most offensive set. First and foremost with Magneton, I wanted to get the special sweeping out of the way. Obviously you can see with its super high special attack, it's going to be a special sweeper, and it has a pretty generally okay speed stat, so we will increase that, max out its EVs to give it max special, max speed, throw the rest to HP, and then we focus on the moves, which of course are all going to be special. Volt Switch is great because it's an electric type move that will give you a switch without needing to waste a turn. So normally when you use an electric type move such as Volt Switch, you're expecting it to do such damage, especially being a stab type move, included with the Life Orb boost of damage that it will give, that it will aid for your Magneton against your opponent. With that, you're expecting your opponent to faint in one shot. And what they send out next is most likely something to retaliate Magneton, like a ground or fighting type Pokemon that can knock it out in one hit. So it's good that it gets sent right back to the ball whenever it uses that move. But if you want an even stronger move than Volt Switch and you want to just sit out on the field, wait out whatever your opponent brings out next and maybe not use this 5th gen tactic, go ahead and use the 95 base power of Thunderbolt and its devastating power that could be enhanced if you had a Rain Dance team, and if that Thunderbolt was not a bolt and just thunder. That would be a 120 guaranteed hit every time, but in that case you might want a Damp Rock on Magneton to keep the rain lasting longer, so that's really up to your team. But generally, Volt Switch is a great thing for this offensive Magneton to have. Tri-Attack, powerful, also has the potential to paralyze, freeze, or burn your opponent. Flash Cannon again takes advantage of the secondary duality of Electric Steel, this time Steel Stab, with the Flash Cannon power being enhanced, already being a base of 80, only further enhanced by Life Orb. Flash Cannon is a great maneuver to smite rock types, ice types, things of that sort. And I also include Hidden Power Water on this set because fire and ground types are some of the most prevalent types that you'll see in metagame that will pose a problem for Magneton. You can outmaneuver the ground types by using a magnet rise in the previous turn so that electric Pokemon are floating, but that only lasts a max of 5 turns, and I don't believe there's any way to further delay the magnet risen stall. So it's much better, in my opinion, with this hyper special sweeping offensive set to possess something to knock out 2 of the 3 weaknesses that this thing possesses. If it comes down to it, you could always switch back with Volt Switch, do damage to the fighting type with Stab, with Life Orb, with all that goodness of maxed special attacking power, use that and return only to send out a Psychic type that never used a switch to waste a turn. One last thing I'd like to point out in the additional move section here is Signal Beam is only learnable through Black 2 and White 2 move tutors. So if you want to have that, maybe you want to get rid of Dark types, maybe you want to have something that can take on Psychic types that also resist it, being a Steel type. Sturdy also gives you some resilience against one-hit KOs from fire or ground if they do happen to be on the field and you don't act fast enough to switch or retaliate against them. That will let you hold on. But let's move on to something a bit more strategic where you're not depending on blind randomness of your opponent's team to wage the most damage. This is where Magneton becomes deviously delicious in its steel smiting possibilities. You can have the option to breed for a Magneton with the ability Magnet Pull instead of Sturdy, and rather than just offensively take the onslaught of whatever comes onto the field, purposefully have this Magneton on your team to retaliate against any other Steel types that may enter onto the field. Now, while this Magneton is in the rarely used category, it could even come up against overused types like Ferrothorn, which we have covered in previous episodes. And once you have it in its grips, Magnet Pull makes it impossible for Steel types to get away. You may want to switch the Hidden Power Water to Hidden Power Fire or Hidden Power Fighting. This way you can sweep any Steel type that your opponent may have, and that completely debunks whatever they throw at you. So any strong Metagross, any Aggron that was going aggro on your team before, you can put a stop to that here with Magneton. And with this Choice Scarf set, it will give it the potential to take it out fast and sweet. Swift and fast and powerful is how set 2 works, and Magnet Pull is just an added bonus if your opponent has a Steel type. The way that set 2 is based around is super speed. So if there's something that comes onto the field that you need to knock out immediately, your Magneton can do great revenge kills. Flash Cannon, Volt Switch, that sort of thing being Stab. Tri Attack because it's a good 80 base with a potential to inflict status ailments. And of course Hidden Power Fire to snag any of those Steel types who may have wandered into your Choice Scarf set trap. And it's beautiful because you're of course maxing out speed and special attack, but now you're almost sort of guaranteed with Choice Scarf on your side to strike first. And if you decide to hit first with Volt Switch, you're going to get the free switch plus the super powerful maxed out EVs of special attack Volt Switch on your opponent. You're getting that damage and going right back to send out another Pokemon to deal massive amounts of terror on your opponent's team. The final variation I have for Magneton today is the Magnet Pull Stall set of Eviolite Excellence. The great thing that Magnezone in the 4th generation gave Magneton in the 5th generation is the ability to upgrade its defense and special defense with one item called Eviolite. This is great because now you don't need to worry about having an ability like Sturdy to resist one-hit KO maneuvers. And the way that this set works out is this is specifically, explicitly used to take down your opponent's Steel types, and you have this to be a Steel thwarter. Anything like a Ferroseed will be vanquished once you send this guy out, and you can have the option of Hidden Power Fighting or Fire. I thought Fighting might be a little bit more useful just because you have some extra options in taking out rock type. But really, in retrospect, when we look at the metagame and how the mechanics are working lately, so many Ferrothorns have been seen that maybe Hidden Power Fire would be the best move to use, because you get a quad super effective hit once you go against it. And to add a little bit more annoyance for your opponent, since it is going to resist many steel type moves that your opponent will try to use to get out of its magnet pull trap, it's good to have substitute to resist all that. So all the power whips won't be taking HP from you, it will just be wasting it away on the sub. Something you do have to worry about when you try to initiate a magnet pull kind of technique is hopefully, and now I'm saying hopefully, but this should be all well calculated since we've maxed out the speed of this Magneton. Hopefully Magneton is the faster steel type here, because if you're going against something like an Aggron or even a Metagross, they are fully capable of equipping an Earthquake to them. So you could end up trapping yourself in something you didn't want to get into. But if the situation looks hairy and you want to abort, it's easy to go to Volt Switch. But of course, if you swap out Volt Switch with Thunderbolt, you're bargaining for more power and Xing out the option for a free switch. And that's up to you, that is your battle style, your choice. But in my opinion, I do believe Volt Switch is much better, because then you have the option of getting out of dodge quicker. And for all of these Magnetons, you'll notice I really didn't change much, but the ability and the item. The item is really everything in this case. Ebiolite boosts your defenses, Choice Scarf increases your speed but locks you down to one move, so do remember that carefully. That is one big caveat that can kick some noob's ass if they didn't expect it. What do you mean I can't use my other moves? Oh noes! What is this item doing? It is really helping your speed, but it will lock you to one move in that turn. The way to unlock that is to switch out and then use another move. But now you see why Volt Switch could be so usable in this situation. So let me know what you think of Magneton and how you see these new sets and how Smogon has helped them. Hopefully you think that they're a bit more informative. I hate to be presenting you with things that are pesky and not really helping you out at all with the metagame. That's not the point of this series. But instead, I would like to know, have you used Magneton at all? Have you tried out these steel type traps? I want to know if it's effective. Haven't gotten a chance to use it myself, but I'd love to know. Alright guys, I'm DiogenZ. Remember to subscribe to Planet Poke and check out my other work on my channel if you're interested. I do a lot of Let's Plays and I do Pokemon stuff there too. See ya!